Hello, beautiful Libras. I hope, excuse the camera, I just knocked it already. Still getting affected by Saturn over here, so forgive me. But hi, Libra. Welcome to your December 2017 reading. I'm really excited to do this. December is a huge month for everyone. The way things are moving, the way things are shifting, the way things are rolling over to end this year out are really pretty poetic and beautiful, and very much about each of us, each of the signs working through some closing out. I'm in my kind of Saturnalia inspired garb today. I'm feeling very cozy, and there is a lot of astrology stuff going on. I'm knocking this camera again. And I'm going to go over that really briefly while I shuffle here for you guys, because the theme with you guys, Libra, is that this year you've had to look at how you communicate, how you relate. I mean, the thing with the way the placements are coming, it kind of has asked all of us to look at something that's very essential to who we are. For Librans, you guys are supposed to be a relatable sign, right? You have that energy to you. And what's interesting about the astrology for December is that we have the Gemini full moon, on December 3rd. And that's going to be in your 9th house of your big vision of the world, big travel, philosophy, the way you practice your religion, your beliefs, your spiritual beliefs. It's all tied in right there. So you're getting highlighted right away out of the gate. We're having this huge highlight on your 9th house of your big beliefs, right? The sun is in Sagittarius, which is your 3rd house of communication and everything. And then, there's a new moon in Sagittarius on the 18th, which is about planting those seeds in the way you communicate. And actually the note I have for you is get real about your relationships. No BS. How have you been expressing yourself? How have you been relating to those people that you really love? Have you been forthright about what you need? Have you stayed on the surface and said, oh, I'm fine, I don't need that. But really you needed something, and you haven't been addressing the core hurt, the core need, the core desire, the core vulnerability, the core issues of self-worth or fear or doubt, because that's going to be, the new moon is going to be asking you to sit in that quiet and look at that. And of course I'll be doing a moon magic for that, so keep an eye out for that. By the way, speaking of moons, Pink Loon has been on vacation. She's done a whole bunch of amazing stuff in the last month, but her store just reopened on Etsy, and she has new stuff that I can't even express to you how beautiful it is. Crowns and beautiful drusies and all this amazing stuff. So check her out. Still have 15% off. I'm going to leave that in the description box below, but she just opened up. All one of a kind, all handmade, amazing. Now, finally, the big final thing. So we talked about the full moon, we talked about the new moon, but the big thing, the big news in December, everybody knows this, is that, well, not everybody knows this, but this is what a lot of astrologers are talking about right now, because it's a big movement, which is that Saturn is leaving Sagittarius and going into Capricorn on December 19th, 20th, depending on what time zone you're in, really the very end of December 19th, going back into the sign that it rules, leaving Sagittarius. I have to look at my notes because I get confused. So the Saturn is going into your 4th house of home and family. So once again, we're having this highlight for you, Librans, on your relationships and where you can find grounding, peace, and clarity within that. So this December is really the placements and these bigger things with the moon and Saturn are asking us to really refine our vision for what we're trying to do and set up for the new year. And it's honestly, the timing with it could not be more perfect, because then finally also we obviously have the switch from having the sun in Sagittarius in your 3rd house into Capricorn in your 4th house as well. So by the end of the month, we're also going to be shifting into what home and family looks like for you, what that interior space looks like for you. So not only are we talking about your big external beliefs, where you're communicating your desires, your needs, but we're also looking at your internal, and we need to find balance within those. Now I'm turning the cards over because I'm curious to see what's coming up for you. On an intuitive level, like I said, you're going to be asked to really take a hard, firm look at whether or not you're communicating what's actually going on in that interior space to the external, or if you're holding it. If you're holding it hostage within yourself and causing there to be more difficulties than there needs to be. And I'd really suggest that December you look at that, journal, think about it. Because here it is. Here we go right away. 8 of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles. So we're looking here at, here's the work that you do in the world. I actually really love this card because it's about making progress on something, doing work on something that means something to you, really making strides in what you do in the world. But this card also connects with me with grounding down, figuring out what works on the day-to-day practical level. And it's coming out with this is 2 of Pentacles. And Librans, you guys are super, you have a tendency often, I've noticed with you guys, to get into the 2 of Pentacles energy. The 2 of Pentacles is a juggler. He wants to somehow balance everything out by never really having a stable foot on the ground. And by trying to do that for everybody else around him, he ends up being really destabilized. And in fact, doesn't actually level out the rest of the world either. Because if you look at this card, look at those waves behind him. Despite all the juggling he's doing, he's still hopping from one foot to the other. He's still feeling that he's not enough, that what he's trying to balance out isn't enough. And I think a lot of you have felt this year that you have had to address this. You might be noticing that you have had to sit down and look at how you've been juggling, how you've been wearing masks, how you've been trying to get your way by not saying exactly what you want and trying to keep things smooth, but then feeling frustrated, then feeling not heard, then feeling like you're left out in the cold. You've got to look at that because this is asking you to do that work. That's what this is doing. And in fact, what's really interesting, you guys, is the next 2 cards. We have the Temperance and the Hierophant. And you know how I was talking about balance and then your higher beliefs, the beliefs you have and how you're communicating them? These 2 cards have so much energy of that. We have the Sagittarius card. We're obviously in Sagittarius season. What a great time of year to be in for most of December. But Temperance is about alchemy. It is about balance. It is about balancing out your internal and external. It is about balancing out your spiritual and your physical. It is about coming to terms with the fact that you do have an interior space and you need to express it to somebody. Now, this can be about partnership. It can be about relationships. It can be about those heavier hitting relationships you have and finding calibration in that. Now, what's interesting is it is next to the Hierophant. And the Hierophant, is associated with structure, is associated with the establishment often. Yes, he is a divine source of information. He does get download, right? He's connected to source, yet he is very focused on the rules of the external world. And part of what I'm getting here is you guys need to balance out this more spiritual energy with your desire to have there be rules and functionality. There's, you guys want to have there be a process for how you express your needs. And sometimes it's just not about that. Sometimes it's just about being very true to your spiritual self. Sometimes it's just about showing up and revealing yourself, revealing this internal world. Sometimes it's not about playing by the rules. Sometimes it's not even about justice. Sometimes it's not even about who's right and who's wrong and who gets their way. And I think that's the thing. There's like this right and wrong kind of feeling that I think has been coming up for you guys because of everything that's happened this year. And this month really is, a slowdown for everybody where we're all taking an assessment. What did this year bring me? What did this year teach me? What did this year shift in me? And the reason being, when Saturn finishes up a transit like that and it's moving into something new, it's giving us some last little gifts and wherever it is in our chart. And for you guys, you're getting this message in this area of your relationships and in this area of your internal space versus your external. Where have you been not expressing yourself clearly? Where have you been expressing yourself clearly? We got to get in touch with that, right? So here we go. Now, what I do see for you guys is actually a lot of emotional growth and warmth. So as much as I've been giving you kind of a We got to get to work. We got to clear that up. The last 5 cards in this reading are fantastic for you guys, and I think you're going to be really happy. So what I would say is just, utilize these placements, utilize these energies, utilize this kind of culmination energy that is coming at the end of this year, this last month of the year, to set up, because it's going to bring with it some really great growth for you. And you might be finding that you're breaking past old patterns, old boundaries, old issues that you had maybe in relationships that were starting to feel toxic or confusing for you because there was a difficulty in communication. So I'll show you why. So the next 2 cards we have are the 10 of Cups and the Page of Wands. So great for Librans. The 10 of Cups is about that emotional happiness going off into the sunset, right? We're having that warm, bright, beautiful energy next to some kind of news coming in. See improvement of communication right here. Because yes, the Wands energy is about action, the actions we take in the world, how we show what we're doing, how we move through the world, but it's also about bringing something in, bringing in some clarifying energy, bringing in some kind of new energy. The Page of Wands is like, let's open it up, let's do it. And next to this 10 of Cups, it's saying that see what I'm seeing here is that in addressing where you've wanted to hide, where you've wanted to keep equilibrium by being polite or by playing a whole bunch of roles or by hiding what's going on in the depths of your soul. Not just what comes up to the surface and turns into drama, but what is really going on here. What is really going on here, Libras? Because it's been causing some noise. If you can get to the root of that and just express it in warmth and good faith, you're going to find yourself in a really great place with your relationships. And this can be about relationships that have been rocky this year, relationships that have been hard on you this year. For those Librans out there looking for love at the end of the year, going into the new year, this is that energy too of a new spark igniting. For an air sign, having that spark there is a really great thing. And this may not be this December, because part of what the thing with the readings for December are, because there's so much emphasis with that Saturn, long term. So these are longer term energies that we're setting up here for the next year. No pressure. Don't overthink it too much. But this is saying, you're headed to some really great pastures. And that continues as we go forward. So what I'm seeing here is the 6 of Pentacles. So by the time we hit Capricorn season, by the time we hit that home and family, we're starting to highlight your home and family a lot more. You're going to be noticing that balance that you needed here starts to show up. Starts to show up in really beautiful ways where there's equal giving and receiving. Now you're going to have to look at where you've been withholding of yourself and where you need to give more, and also where you've been stopping yourself from allowing people to give to you. Once again, this is all about this great communication that's coming in, some kind of dam being broken down so that you actually understand what's going on. Because I feel like a lot of you have been in the fog. There's been relationships that have just felt like, what is wrong? What is going wrong in this relationship? I'm not understanding it completely. So you're finding balance. That is so great. That is such a great way to end the year. And then we have 2 final cards here. We have the 9 of Wands and the Chariot. And here really is such a great pairing for the end of the year. Besides the fact that the giving and receiving is balanced, we're looking at what you have learned this year, and that is helping to slingshot you into some beautiful partnership and new horizons. This is really new energy here. So the 9 of Wands is asking you, really look at this year. Look at what you have experienced. Look at where you have struggled. Look at where you maybe had misunderstandings or where you felt hurt. And take it in and utilize it to get into this Chariot, because this Chariot is a new beginning. It's a new horizon. Once again, there's something going on here with you guys and hitting some new territory finally. And it really has felt like you've been kind of having to cycle through some lessons a number of times. Maybe 3 or 4 times this year you've had to kind of hit into a wall where you had to address something. And that's that energy right here. But you're finally getting to a point where you're seeing the puzzle pieces come together, where you understand what's going on. And it's putting you into this beautiful forward-moving Chariot energy. The Chariot is associated with Cancer. Funny enough, that's the sign of home and family. That's the 4th house energy of what feels good as far as that interior space when you're home, when you're with the people you trust the most. So what I'm seeing too is by the end of this month, you might find that those relationships are closer, that you are getting back into that mode where you are feeling the support and the warmth. And that you are finding that you're able to open up new pastures for a relationship. You're able to initiate something that really gives you a lot of steam. So that is a beautiful energy. I'm going to actually look at the bottom of the deck just for Two of Cups. Wow. Okay, you guys. Here's another balancing card, right? Not only is the Two of Cups great for romance. So, I am seeing that. You guys. But this is about balance. Give and receive. Reciprocity. It's not about this. This does not work. This does. So remember, you've got a show of yourself in a real way, and you also have to allow others to give to you as well. And you are a sign of balance. But sometimes I think with that analytical side of yourselves, it can actually be harder to just more intuitively do the balance thing. You can start getting really in your head, and that can cause some ripples and some waves and some confusion. So with that, you guys, have a beautiful December. I love you all so much. I do private readings on Skype where I can do video readings or phone call readings. I'm going to leave my website, my email, and my Instagram all in the description box, along with the beautiful Pink Loon's wonderful stuff, and her Etsy shop, and the 15% off in the description box. I will be taking a couple of weeks as Saturn moves out of my first house. I will be taking a couple of weeks at the end and the beginning of the new year to take care of myself and refresh. So, but I will be doing readings in January and December. So just check my calendar. I will try and work with you and get you in as efficiently as possible. But please have a beautiful December. I hope this reading was helpful. I'm sending you so much love for the end of the year. Enjoy all this wonderful self-reflective energy. It's going to be so helpful. Mwah.